Hey everyone. Ever get stuck in your head with the same thoughts, like a broken record player? Those thoughts that just keep repeating?
Oh, yeah.
Turns out those repetitive thoughts might be shaping your reality more than you think.
Ah,
We're diving deep into inner talking today. And, we've been inspired by the teachings of Neville Goddard.
oh, cool.
And he believed that our thoughts, especially the ones we keep replaying in our minds, they have this incredible power to manifest in our lives. It's like our thoughts are like little seeds we're planting in our minds.
It's fascinating how we often don't even realize how powerful our thoughts are.
Right. So we're not just talking about, positive thinking here, right?
No, definitely not.
This is deeper than just, slapping on a happy face and, hoping for the best.
This goes way beyond just thinking happy thoughts. It's more about our imagination
Okay.
and combining that imagination with the feeling of a wish fulfilled. It's like the key to making our desires a reality. It's about creating this vivid picture in our minds and really feeling the emotions as if what we want is already happening.
So it's not just about picturing it in our minds.
No.
It's about really feeling it like it's already real.
Exactly. Our subconscious mind, it doesn't really know the difference between what's real and what we vividly imagine.
Oh, wow.
So when we use all of our senses to imagine something,
Yeah.
we're basically reprogramming our subconscious to believe that it's already true.
That's pretty powerful. I have to admit, I've always struggled with negative self-talk, especially before I have to give a presentation.
Yeah.
So how could I use this whole feeling of the wish fulfilled idea to, help me feel more confident?
Okay, so imagine you're walking into that presentation room and you just feel so confident and prepared.
Okay.
You see yourself speaking effortlessly, connecting with the audience, and everyone's giving you positive feedback.
Yeah.
The key is to really feel that satisfaction and pride as if it's already happened.
Okay, so it's like I'm actually there.
Yes.
I'm in the moment and I'm feeling all good feelings. Okay, I can see how that could help. But what about those really deep-rooted negative thoughts that just keep coming back?
Yeah.
It feels like they're on autopilot, constantly trying to sabotage me.
Goddard, he called those deep-rooted thoughts assumptions.
Mm.
He believed that whatever we believe to be true in our minds ends up becoming our reality.
Wow.
Our subconscious mind, it takes those assumptions as commands and starts making things happen to match those assumptions.
So if I keep telling myself I'm not good at public speaking, I'm actually setting myself up for failure.
Unfortunately, yes. But the good news is we can consciously choose more empowering assumptions.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I'm not good at public speaking, you could try shifting that inner dialogue to something like, I am a capable and engaging speaker.
Right.
And the more you repeat and feel this new assumption, the more you'll see it reflected in your reality.
So it's about changing the script, not just silencing the negative voice.
Exactly.
It's about being aware of those automatic negative thoughts and then choosing to replace them with affirmations that support the reality we want to create.
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But sometimes it feels like those negative thoughts are just so stubborn, so ingrained in my mind. How do we actually start to change those deep-rooted patterns?
That's where the power of repetition and disciplined inner talking really comes in.
Okay.
Goddard believed that mastering our inner world takes more than just, thinking positive thoughts every now and then.
Right.
It's about being consistent, putting in the effort, monitoring our thoughts daily, and consciously shaping those inner conversations.
So it's like we're training our minds like we would train our bodies.
Exactly.
We're teaching them to focus on what we want instead of what we don't want.
Yes. It's about becoming the master of our own mental domain.
Okay.
And it's in those moments of doubt or difficulty when those negative thoughts try to creep in.
Oh, yeah.
That's when we have the biggest opportunity to strengthen our mental muscles and really take control.
So it's like a mental workout.
Exactly.
Okay, so where do we even begin with this inner talking training?
The first step is awareness.
Okay.
Most of us are kind of on autopilot, not really paying attention to the constant stream of thoughts running through our heads.
Right.
We need to become conscious observers of our inner dialogue.
So just taking a step back and noticing those thoughts without judgment.
Yes.
Are they positive, negative? Are they based on fear or limiting beliefs?
Exactly. A lot of times those thoughts, they're coming from past experiences, societal conditioning, or even fears that we're not even aware of.
Oh, wow.
Bringing those thoughts into our conscious awareness is so important for breaking free from those patterns.
So once we're aware of our inner talking, how do we actually start changing it?
Yeah.
Because those negative thoughts can sometimes feel really strong.
Yeah.
Like, how do we convince ourselves that we're capable when everything inside of us is screaming failure?
It starts with conscious redirection.
Okay.
This means actively choosing to replace those negative thoughts with positive, empowering ones. And remember, it's not just about thinking those positive thoughts, it's about feeling them as if they're already true.
So we're literally rewriting the script of our inner monologue.
Yes.
Not just hitting the mute button.
Exactly. Can you give me an example?
Yeah, so let's say I'm feeling anxious about that presentation again, and my inner voice is saying, I'm going to mess this up.
Okay.
What's a more empowering thought I could replace that with?
Instead of, I'm going to mess this up, try shifting to, I am well prepared and confident in my ability to deliver a compelling presentation.
Okay.
The key is to choose affirmations that feel right for you.
Right.
And to repeat them until they start to feel less like wishful thinking and more like an undeniable truth.
So repetition is really key.
Absolutely. The more we repeat these positive affirmations, the more we reprogram our subconscious to believe them. And eventually those affirmations become our default way of thinking.
This reminds me of something I read in the source material about writing down those positive affirmations and putting them in places where we can see them as reminders.
That's a great strategy. Having those visual cues can be really helpful to keep those positive thoughts top of mind.
Yeah.
And they're right there when those negative thoughts try to sneak in.
It's like a mental reset button when things start to spiral.
Exactly. It's about creating an environment that supports those new, empowering assumptions.
Okay. This is all starting to make sense.
Yeah.
Now, I want to go back to that idea of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, because I'm still not quite clear on that. You mentioned it earlier with a presentation example, but can you break it down a bit more?
Sure. So Goddard believed that simply thinking positive thoughts isn't enough. We need to embody the emotions of our desired reality as if it's already happening. Our subconscious mind responds to feelings, so we need to convince it that what we want is already ours.
So let's say someone is looking for their dream job.
Okay.
Instead of dwelling on their current job or past rejections, they should start feeling the excitement and gratitude of already having that dream job.
Exactly. They should imagine themselves walking into their new office, feeling confident and fulfilled. Visualize themselves excelling in their role, receiving praise for their work.
Wow.
And most importantly, feel the emotions associated with those experiences.
Okay, so if I want to attract more abundance into my life instead of worrying about bills, I should focus on feeling the joy and gratitude of already having financial security.
That's the idea. It's about shifting your emotional state to match the reality you want to create.
So it's not about denying our current reality, but it's about cultivating the feelings of our desired reality as if it were already here.
Exactly. And those feelings, those vibrations are what ultimately shape our reality.
Okay. So we've got our positive affirmations, we're visualizing our desired outcome, and we're really feeling those emotions.
Right.
What's the next step?
That's where imagination comes in. Goddard described it as the divine creative power within us.
Right. He believed our imagination fuels our inner talking and ultimately shapes our reality.
Exactly. He argued that when we vividly imagine a desired state, we create corresponding inner dialogue, which then influences the subconscious mind and eventually manifests in the external world.
So our imagination is like the architect that designs the blueprint.
Okay.
And our inner talking is the construction crew that brings that blueprint to life.
I love that analogy.
The source material gives the example of imagining receiving praise for a job well done.
Yeah.
This naturally leads to thoughts like, I am valued, I am successful, I am appreciated.
Exactly. And those thoughts, when repeated and felt deeply, they start to take root in our subconscious mind.
Wow.
They influence our actions and attract experiences that align with those beliefs.
So it's like a cycle.
Yeah.
Imagination sparks our inner talking,
Huh?
which influences our beliefs.
Yes.
And then those beliefs shape our reality.
Exactly. It's a powerful creative process, and the more we consciously direct it, the more control we have over shaping our lives.
This is all starting to make sense. Now I'm seeing how these different pieces all fit together. The assumptions, the affirmations, the visualizations, the feelings. They create this incredibly powerful tool for shaping our reality.
That's the beauty of Goddard's teachings. It's a holistic approach that recognizes how interconnected our thoughts, feelings, and actions really are.
Okay, this has been an incredible start to our deep dive, and I'm already feeling my mind expanding.
Me too.
I can't wait to hear more about how we can apply these principles in our lives. But we're gonna have to take a break for now. Stay tuned for part 2 of our exploration into inner talking, where we'll delve deeper into the practical side of putting these ideas into action.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about how powerful our thoughts can be.
It really is mind-blowing. It's like our thoughts are constantly sending out signals.
Yeah.
And those signals are attracting experiences that match their frequency.
So if we're always thinking negative thoughts, we're just going to attract more negativity into our lives.
That's the idea. But if we can shift our frequency to more positive things like gratitude and love,
Then we start attracting more of those positive experiences.
this reminds me of that law of attraction thing, like attracts, like
Exactly.
you mentioned earlier that Goddard's teachings go beyond just attracting things.
Yes,
It's about actually shaping our reality.
that's right. It's not just about getting more stuff. It's about creating a life that truly aligns with our desires and values.
Mhm.
It's about becoming conscious creators of our own experiences.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about the power of positive inner talking, but let's be real for a second.
Yeah.
We all have negative thoughts pop up sometimes.
Of course.
How do we deal with those when they inevitably come up?
That's a great question.
Right.
It's important to remember that we're not aiming for this perfect state of positivity where we never experience any negative emotions.
Right. So it's not about suppressing or denying those negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Because I've tried that and it never seems to work.
Mm.
They just come back stronger.
You're right. Trying to suppress those thoughts often just makes them more intense. It's more about recognizing them when they arise, acknowledging them without judging ourselves,
Okay.
and then consciously choosing to shift our focus to something more positive and empowering.
So it's like we're becoming the observer of our thoughts
Yes.
rather than getting swept away by them.
Exactly. It's about creating some distance from our thoughts, recognizing that they're not always true or representative of who we really are.
Like that saying, you are not your thoughts.
Yes, exactly.
Right? We have the power to choose which thoughts we want to engage with and which ones we want to let go of. This makes me think of that technique I've heard about called thought stopping.
Oh, yes.
Have you heard of that?
Yes. It's a very simple but powerful technique.
How does it work?
You basically interrupt the negative thought pattern by saying stop
Oh,
in your mind, or even out loud if you need to.
okay.
It's about breaking that cycle of negativity
Got it.
and redirecting our mental energy to something more helpful.
So we're training our minds to be more picky about the thoughts we entertain.
Exactly.
We're becoming the curators of our own mental landscapes, weeding out the thoughts that don't serve us and cultivating the ones that do.
I like that.
But this whole thing about being mindful of our thoughts.
Yeah.
How do we actually do that? It doesn't just happen overnight, does it?
You're right. It takes practice. And one of the best ways to cultivate mindfulness is through meditation.
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't say that.
Really?
Meditation always seemed a little intimidating to me.
I understand.
Something only those super Zen people can do.
It's really much simpler than most people think. And it doesn't have to be about completely emptying your mind. It's more about creating space between your thoughts,
Okay.
allowing yourself to simply observe them without getting carried away by them, like training your mind to become more still and focused.
So it's about learning to just observe those thoughts without judging them or getting attached to them.
Exactly. And as we develop this ability to simply observe, we gain more control over our thoughts. We're not so easily swayed by every little thought or emotion that comes along.
We're taking back the reins of our own minds.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm willing to give meditation another shot, especially if it can help me quiet down that inner critic that's always nagging me. But even with all these tools, I have to admit, it can still feel a bit overwhelming at times.
Yeah, I can understand that.
It's like now I'm aware of all these thoughts running through my head,
Right.
and it feels like a constant battle to keep them positive.
I hear you. It can definitely feel like that first. It's like we've opened this Pandora's box of thoughts and we don't know what to do with them all.
Exactly. Any advice for those moments when we feel like you're drowning in negative thoughts?
First of all, be kind to yourself and be patient. You're not going to master your mind overnight. It's a process that takes time and practice. Instead of trying to control every single thought, which is nearly impossible,
Right.
focus on cultivating a general atmosphere of positivity in your mind.
So instead of getting caught up in every little thought, try to create an overall feeling of peace, gratitude, and optimism.
Exactly. It's like creating fertile ground in your mind where those positive thoughts can grow more easily.
Like tending a garden.
Yes, exactly. Our minds are like gardens, and we get to choose which seeds we plant.
I love that analogy.
And just like a garden, our minds need care and attention. We need to weed out the negative thoughts, cultivate the positive ones, and create the right conditions for growth and flourishing.
So instead of beating ourselves up over every negative thought, we can simply acknowledge it, let it go, and then choose to plant a more positive seed in its place.
Exactly. It's about shifting our focus from what we don't want to what we do want. It's about nurturing those positive thoughts and beliefs so they can take root and blossom.
This whole discussion has really highlighted how important it is to be intentional with our thoughts.
Absolutely.
You can't just let them run wild.
Right.
We need to make conscious choices to think thoughts that support us and align with the reality we want to create.
I agree. And the more we practice this, the easier it becomes. It's like we're developing a new habit of thinking, a habit of positivity, gratitude, and empowerment.
This reminds me of a quote from the source material that really stuck with me. Idle or careless thoughts can lead to unwanted outcomes, while deliberate and purposeful thinking creates a life aligned with our highest aspirations.
That's such a powerful reminder. It's like we're always choosing between creating a life by default or creating a life by design.
And by using inner talking consciously, we have the power to become the architects of our own destinies. We're not victims of circumstance, we're empowered creators of our own experiences. But can we apply this whole concept of inner talking to things beyond our personal lives? Can it influence our relationships with others or even have an impact on the world as a whole?
Absolutely. In fact, the power of inner talking goes way beyond our individual experiences.
So how does that work? How can our thoughts about others actually influence our relationships with them?
Well, remember that example we discussed earlier about the woman who transformed her relationship with her employer just by changing her thoughts about him?
Yes. She started imagining him being more appreciative and supportive.
Right.
And eventually, his behavior changed to match her thoughts.
Exactly. This is a great example of a key principle. Other people often mirror the thoughts we hold about them.
So if we're constantly thinking negative thoughts about someone like, they're always so judgmental, or they never listen to me, we're actually projecting that energy onto them, and they're more likely to act that way towards us.
Exactly. It's like we're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. But on the other hand, if we choose to focus on their positive qualities, if we look for the best in them and hold them in a positive light in our minds, they're much more likely to reflect those good feelings back to us.
So it's like we're setting the tone for the entire interaction with our thoughts. We're creating this energetic field that influences not only our own experiences, but also the experiences of the people around us. This is a powerful reminder to be mindful of the thoughts we're thinking about others, especially the people we're close to. It's not about pretending that everyone is perfect or ignoring any challenges in the relationship.
No.
It's more about choosing to focus on the positive aspects, seeing the potential for growth and harmony, and holding a vision of the relationship we want to have.
I love that. It's like we're planting seeds of love, understanding, and compassion in the garden of our relationships.
And like any garden, our relationships need tending and nurturing.
Yes.
They need sunlight, water, and the right kind of attention to thrive. By consciously choosing our thoughts about others, we can create the conditions for those relationships to really flourish.
That's it. We have so much power to co-create harmonious and fulfilling relationships just by aligning our inner talking with our desired outcomes. And this principle goes even further.
Oh, in what way?
This power of inner talking, it isn't limited to our personal relationships. It can even have a big impact on the world at large.
Are you saying that our individual thoughts can actually influence the collective consciousness?
That's exactly what Neville Goddard believed. He said that if we all collectively raise the quality of our inner conversations, we can create a more loving and harmonious society.
So if we're all walking around with negative thoughts, fears, and judgments, that collective energy is going to create more conflict and disharmony in the world.
Right.
But if we can cultivate thoughts of compassion, understanding, and unity, then that positive energy is going to spread outwards and contribute to a more peaceful and loving world.
That's the idea. It's like a domino effect where our individual thoughts all contribute to the collective consciousness.
Wow.
And then that collective consciousness shapes the reality we all experience.
That's a powerful thought. So how do we actually put this into practice? How can we consciously contribute to a more positive collective consciousness?
The source material suggests setting aside some time each day to affirm positive beliefs about humanity. For example, you could say to yourself, the world is filled with kindness and generosity, or people are becoming more loving and compassionate every day.
So it's like we're sending out these positive vibes into the world to
Exactly.
counteract all the negativity that's out there.
Yes, and when we do this regularly, it not only shapes our own view of the world, but it also affects the collective energy around us.
It's like we're each a little spark of light, and when we all shine together, we can light up the darkness and create a better future for everyone.
That's beautiful. It highlights how connected we all are and the power of our collective consciousness to shape our reality. But remember, it all starts with our individual thoughts and the intention we bring to them.
This has been so eye-opening. I can't wait to hear what else we uncover in the last part of our deep dive. Wow, we've really gone deep into this whole idea of inner talking. It's fascinating how much power our thoughts have over our lives.
It's like we're constantly creating our reality with every thought we think.
We've covered so much in this deep dive, from how those inner conversations we have are like blueprints for our experiences.
Right.
To learning all those practical tips for shifting those conversations in a more positive and empowering direction.
Yeah. And we even touched on how this idea of inner talking can affect our relationships and even create a better world.
It's really mind-blowing.
Yeah.
One thing that's really stood out to me is how important it is to take responsibility for our thoughts.
Absolutely.
It's easy to think our thoughts are just random things we have no control over.
Yeah, like they're just popping up out of nowhere.
But what we've learned is that we actually have a choice.
We do.
We can just let our thoughts run wild and dictate our emotions and actions.
Right.
Or we can choose to become conscious creators of our inner world.
And by doing that, we become conscious creators of our outer world.
Because our inner world is always shaping our outer world. It's like we're each holding a paintbrush and our thoughts are the colors.
I like that.
Every time we think a thought, it's like adding a stroke to the canvas of our lives.
So if we want to create a masterpiece, we need to be careful about the colors we're choosing.
We need to be intentional about the thoughts we're feeding our minds.
Exactly. And the source material we've been looking at has given us so many tools for doing that.
Right, from affirmations and visualizations to gratitude practices and all those conscious redirection techniques. It's like we have a whole toolbox for mastering our minds.
And the more we use these tools, the better we get at it.
It's like anything else. Practice makes perfect.
With practice and persistence, we can all become masters of our inner world.
Before we wrap things up, is there anything else from the source material that really resonated with you?
Well, we've talked a lot about the power of inner talking on an individual level.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking about the collective power of our thoughts.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if our own thoughts can have such a big impact on our own reality, what happens when we combine our thoughts with the thoughts of everyone else?
That's a good question. It's like we're creating this massive network of thoughts where everyone's energy is interconnected.
Exactly. And the source material hints at the idea that when we all raise the quality of our inner conversations together, we can actually create a more peaceful and harmonious world.
So it's not just about our own personal enlightenment.
Right.
It's about contributing to a collective awakening.
Exactly. And it reminds me of this concept called morphogenetic fields.
What's that?
It's the idea that there are these invisible fields of energy that connect all living things.
Oh, man.
And these fields are influenced by our thoughts, our beliefs, and our intentions.
So if we're all focused on negativity and fear and separation,
Yeah,
those energies are going to dominate the field.
they are. But if we can shift our focus to things like love, compassion, and unity,
Yeah.
those energies will start to spread throughout the field and create a ripple effect that influences everyone.
That's amazing. So by becoming more aware of our own thoughts and intentions,
Yeah,
we can actually start to understand and even influence the collective consciousness.
exactly. It's a powerful thought. It's like we're all connected pieces of a giant puzzle.
And by being mindful of our own thoughts,
Yes.
we can start to see how we fit into the bigger picture and how we can help create a better world.
It's about recognizing that we're not separate from each other.
We're all part of something much bigger.
Exactly. We're all interconnected threads in the tapestry of life.
And by choosing to weave our threads with love, compassion, and awareness,
Yes.
we can create a more beautiful and vibrant tapestry for everyone.
That's a beautiful way to put it. We're all in this together, and our thoughts and actions really do matter.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into inner talking.
It's been an incredible journey.
I hope you've learned some valuable things and that you have some new tools you can start using in your own life.
Remember, you are the architect of your own reality, and your thoughts are the blueprints.
So choose those thoughts carefully, cultivate them with love, and watch as your world transforms to match your dreams.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.
Bye, everyone.